It all starts in front of a box of high voltage with a warning about danger and electrocution. The young man was holding some kibbles, wondering if he gets caught now. That was the end for him. Suddenly, two men grabbed the young man while he tried to fight, to not be carried away back. At that moment, he realized when he was caught there, everything is over for him. So the man decided, staff glue the cables together and create a very strong short circuit. He would rather sacrifice than to be caught again. And in an instant, there was a loud burst of energy. Because of this, all three of them were hit by electricity. The young man said he prefers the outcome. It is, but that doesn't matter. Because there is heart again, living throbbing inside his chest. Even if the damage is severe of his body. The young man stood up and declared that he will never be lost forever. This is the beginning of the story of resurrection, boy and secret about unique. This organ. In this world, there are many others, a different type of the heart, and each has something unique. Characteristic. The strange, this mutation has only affected a few people and brings exceptional abilities. Depending on the type of the organ, the user can show power more than the ability of the common man. Because of this, the individual that it was recognized of fall as heart mutant. Many are jealous of the rag. It goes along and says, it is a divine blessing. But the truth is different. The man heard it. Staff and he smiled with a hint of sarcasm, while rummaging in a trash can. He looked at himself pitifully. Conditioned and blamed the power. That being so difficult. Of his life. But for now, the most important thing is to find something to eat. Because almost go crazy with hunger, the young man afterwards saw he a piece of bread thrown away, and too much. He was happy with his luck. Even though it is in the middle of the filth. The survivor began to eat almost desperate. It is said that the smell of food is not bad. While he was eating, Mayasong approached the young man sitting near the trash can. He noticed the presence. The animal asked if the little one was also hungry. Days. He offered her a piece. And that was accepted. The dog, and began to lick the butt, his skinned hand. But suddenly, a few more dogs appeared, and were surrounded. The young man. He heard a strange noise. Out of fear, he hid behind a wall and peeked out. I think the boys. It was from the laboratory that there. However, 3 young people, only flames were seen. It's his hill corner, an unopposed student. Realize the situation. The main one breathed a sigh of relief. Local delinquents were staffed and understood. Only these men are constantly harassed. The girl. It claims to already know how the world revolves. At that moment, notice a skeleton holding the girl a bag of food for pets. And he understood why it was there. Seeing the emptiness, that's justice. The young man decided to intervene and started walking towards in the group. He told the herders to stop and turned around. They are confused, asking who that vagabond person is. The main character approaches in one to them and declared that he is not who he is, only vagabond. When you saw the face of Stir, the flame was very scared and started screaming in fear. At that moment, the arm of our hero has changed and became a very informative note. That bone, holding the weapons, he told the delicious to shut up and leave there soon. Because of this, the flames ran in great fear, screaming that they saw a ghost. Meanwhile, the girl watched what happened. The student, still lying on the ground, is trying to interrupt, who thanked the unexpected help. But the skeleton confronted him and pointed his finger in such a way, very scary. The girl panicked and shouted not to. The creature approached and begged it to stay away. But he ignored it. He got scared and picked up the food bag. A pet that fell to the ground. In the midst of chaos, the student on the strange actions of the creature. Then he said that the food for pets, animal it took, is for hope to stray dog. The skeleton ate a little and asked for, sorry. Said he didn't mean to scare the girl. Politely, he asked if he could ask for a little more in food. The girl was left in shock, afraid to see that the creature can speak. Screamed the girl and ran away. From there, the young man watched the incident. This reaction is expected, because he is used to it. But he was unmoved, and said that anyway, he can eat food. A peaceful pet. Although afraid, the student remained hidden. Oh, sir. He then wondered what that creature was. He began to question himself. If it is human, and if it is possible to live, a person in such a situation. Because of this, there was a possibility that entered the girl's mind. He thinks he might be one part mutant. The girl remembered that the mutants had unique abilities, and he saved her from bad guys. Out of conscience for his reaction, decided, he returned and approached the skeleton again. Then, the girl offered a sandwich from his wing. The hungry young man, surprised, the survivor was moved and asked if it was for him. Is the sandwich really? The girl confirmed this and apologized. On his run earlier, he thanked and accepted the food. He grabbed the sandwich and thought that he had just received food. This is what it looks like. Take a bite. The young man was big, and he remembered the wraps, just like this sandwich. What is seen, he used to be in the trash. When he saw it, he was very happy, and said that the taste was very divine. He praised how much vegetables are fresh, bread, and meat, and he said he could pass away happily. While the student watched as he was rubbed, the dog, the main thought, character who seems like an angel. After a while, the student took courage and asked what he could call the Sir. He replied that his name was Joe Kim and formally introduced the girl. Smiling, the girl said please. He did that and revealed that his name was Hey. Saw him. Then he asked how the young man ended up in such a state. He explained that he was running away from the laboratory. In fear, Hey asked about that laboratory and if it is really being pursued. Geo confirmed, with a research center that hunts mutants and trying to get him back there. Shocked the student because he has heard rumors about this and asked what was being done to him in that place. For a moment the skeleton fell silent and prepared to say the truth about his past. He revealed that he used in experiments and suffered for 10 years in various tests and methods. He should the cruelty suffered for a whole decade. Geo explained that all happened. That's because of his heart capable of restoring life. Because of the unique, it is this ability that brings him back to life. He overcame everything, and that's the reason why he ended up in this situation. Stared at. She is the girl with a serious and determined expression. After hearing this said story. Meanwhile, constantly sold, the young man is his form, and the suffering caused by his power. The student suddenly stood up and invited. He went with her somewhere. Now to see Geo. The girl held his hand and pulled him. It is said that it was only a moment. He was completely shocked while feeling the girl's tight grip in his hand. Despite his terrifying appearance, there was a young woman who had courage to hold him. The skeleton turned red and felt wild, thinking that he did not expect what happened. Unexpected. His note reappeared. Boned while pulling. He is on the road. In the middle of their walk. The young man's hand was removed. Net Taranta, the student, while holding the severed part. Because of this, he lost hope. But he tried to calm her down. It is said to happen from time to time. The skeleton explained that it was necessary. He just confessed this to Rick. Danake, the arm, and asked where they were. Boards. After a while, the young man appeared with a new dress and wig. The situation is still not fully understood. He explained that he bought the clothes for him, Asura. Then Akit, he looks and doesn't notice much. The girl said plain. Only these, but will help for a long time. Gio was touched. What was done, he said, and said she loves new clothes. Given by the girl. The young man feels he is very comfortable. And he said as if there had been, he has a new skin. He was very happy, but warned. He is a student who has not yet, the change is over. The girl said her face was still visible. And she will cover it with makeup. After this, the girl finished what she did. And presented the new, his friend's form. There is still a mirror. He was a bit embarrassed. But Gio liked it. He said that now he would not be recognized. Others, while hiding. The girl turned her face in shame. Suddenly his cell phone rang. He looked at the time and realized he was late for his class. Because of this, the student said goodbye and left Gio alone. As the dogs run away, he shouted. The young man took care of the small dogs. While he was gone, he remained standing there, thinking of the name of the girl who helped him. On that day, that angel's name is Hei Song. And he will never forget that. Hin Libutin, he of dogs, and thought. He if its request means. Will be back the next day. The young man remembered being in the laboratory. Itinerary, he is an experiment of all. Remember, he inside the laboratory. He is like it, animals and in, street. On the other hand, he is being run. People are afraid of him. But see, Hei Song, the first person a long time past here. He is, as a real person. He lay with him, of dogs, and thanked the little one, dog that brought him, to recognize that, estadiant. Then, the young man asked, the animal is what he should call it. While the dog was licking him, proposed. His name is Potato. Seems to like it, that's a little dog, and happy, tumble, as if repeating its new name. He remembered how delicious it was, the sandwich he received. Theothos. The girl who bought him clothes is already Kim, and talked to him. Is a true angel. Because of this, looking forward is the next day, and hoping he would see her again. But suddenly the main one's smile disappeared, Saf, and he realizes the harsh truth. He called it folly. The hope, that, and he understood he couldn't put the girl in danger. The young man remembered that he was being chased, and his presence can bring disaster. Case. There are heavy feelings. The skeleton decided it was the best thing to do. Is the one who left. He feels the need. He returned to the place where he belongs and stay away from good people. So started walking. The young man is alone in the dark streets of the city. There is no specific destination. After walking for a long time, he found a sewer entrance near a river. Without hesitation, the young man entered there to hide from everyone. He ended up passing out on the dirty floor and remained unconscious there for a long time. When he wakes up, the young man was surprised, seeing him holding a rat in its tail. He stood up and thought he couldn't just sleep somewhere, because he lost consciousness due to extreme fatigue. It didn't take long. Attack. He is hungry, and growled loudly. His stomach. The young man already knows, will be hungry, so he saved some food. A pet. Before leaving, decided, that's what to eat, while thinking about the taste of the sandwich, to deceive his stomach. Because of this, the young man ate it, each piece as if it were real substance. A sandwich, and he was surprised by the result. Suddenly, the main one heard staff of strange noise and became alert inside his hiding place. At that moment, they jumped to him, potato dog, and kidnapped the food from his hand. Because of this, and men, he was scolded and scolded, Emil, sad to be inedible. That's a little dog. But something strange was noticed, skeleton and confused, he in the whole incident. Then, the young man realized it was Potato, and he was shocked to see it there. He couldn't understand how he was, in the den, a dog like that, distant place. Realized, the young man said that if the little animal was there, means there were others who came with it. At that moment, he heard Hei Hei's voice, and he fainted, covered by his skeletal appearance. His joy. Out came the student with a slight no, friendly expression, and asked why he disappeared, without even saying anything. He said he almost couldn't find it. And obviously, his joy was obvious when he saw her again. The girl explained that she followed the smell of dogs, and that way he found the hiding place. Because of this, he scolded the young man for putting himself at risk, and he apologized for worrying that he caused them. Admitted, the young man was afraid of becoming a burden and decided. He just left with a smile. The girl said too much. He is happy that was finally found. It's his. He added that even potatoes. The little dog was also worried and licked his friend's face. Then the girl said it was necessary. They ate, and showed a lot. Snacks he brought. Hei said that he bought all of them because of the same sandwich, only that he ate less time. The student prepared a strange dessert by mixing milk and biscuits, and offered this to the young man. He was surprised by the combination of biscuits and milk, but the girl assured him that it was very tasty. The young man felt a new sensation, and he thought, wonderful, that's the food yesterday. Because of this, he tried the dessert, using a small spoon and nag. Think about its tastes. Very tasty. The taste made him cry with emotion, and he said it was very tasty. Overjoyed, he even offered his friend a little, but the girl said she should try a soda. Suddenly, while drinking soda, began to restore quickly his arm. Too much. The student was shocked by what he witnessed, and he showed healing of his arm in front it itself. His hand is just developing, and the girl watched the process closely, full of fear. Then he asked if it was always like that. Recovery is slow, and if it takes a few days before he finally recovered. The young man straightened him up and said at that speed, full recovery will take years, which surprised the girl even more. He thinks that to speed up the process necessary, he absorbed a lot of specific liquid. But he decided not to scare her. So he changed the subject and said this is the way. Food users. The girl asked what was the other way. The lie, sir, and said another way is working, only in the laboratory, and food is already helpful. The girl asked if the laboratory used to help him, and he explained that he was being healed there for those experiments. Because of this, they keep chasing him wherever he hides. Upon hearing this, understood by student why he ran away. Without saying anything, he confirmed that and said no, that the girl needs to be kind to him because it's dangerous, their friendship. The girl stood up with determination and shouted that it is necessary. They immediately went to the police station. But the young man said the police would treat him like a monster, and once he almost a target at noon. The girl said not to worry, and revealed his senior brother, Burl, is a police officer. Because of this, he shared a wonderful, awesome secret. His brother, there is also a mutant, that heart like him. The skeleton was completely stunned, and asked if what he heard was correct. The girl's relative is a mutant. At that moment, the young man remained silent, while meditating. The unexpected, this revelation. Looking at the ground, the student asked for trust. The officer was assured, is a very kind and good person. But the survivor, it seems that the information is still being processed, and his face shows complete confusion. Noticing the feelings are already heavy, the girl decided to say goodbye in animals and said, necessary. He left early. He gave one last touch, the small animals, and mentioned that they should be together. The shelter is related to them. As soon as possible. Make a funny face. Potato and happy. Dumhole. As if to understand the whole conversation of people left behind. He alone with the animal. The main one thanked staff with its help, and stroked the head of his new best friend. With a determined look, the young man said, self, that this time he is no longer will run like a coward. He smiled and promised, "We'll be back soon to revisit and play in that place." From afar, Wave Hallam is the student. While watching, he is the young man who walks away and disappears on the city horizon. He put on his hood and thought to end 3 years of hiding. Finally, someone reached out to help him. He remembered his friend's smile and felt his having someone by his side is a strange and new feeling. While walking on the road, the hero thinks, if he can live in peace, there is no need to be a fugitive for life. But suddenly, hit his face, the intense light and stopped. He is in the middle of the road, no time at all, aware of impending danger. Seeing the incident, stopped the girl in great fear, and his expression changed completely to notice the fast car. In the violent pride, the body of the Sark and his glasses flew as he spins in the air. At that moment, fall hard on asphalt. The young man was lying on the ground without any signs of reaction. A big one. The staff grabbed the student and Danak in his mouth as he tried to shout for his friend. Because of this, some men wearing the suit ran towards the main character, and the other among them is holding a baseball bat. At that moment, the two men took advantage the opportunity and lifted the young man's body that remains behind the bat. There is a lean lighter, and the little fire shed light on the scene that revealed a new character. A man with a scar, the one who lit the cigarette and said he finally found mercy. Piece of trash. Then, the leader ordered the men to take him, because he will pay for everything he did. There's. As the chase continues, the 3 black cars quickly left. The captive protagonist is brought in towards in an unknown place. But in the rearview mirror, a car can be seen dragging the skeleton with a coiled hole on his neck. The young man is coughing while being pulled over the asfalto, and realizing we have another body being dragged with him. Anger. The young man's face, while being cursed, he found himself caught in such a shameful way. Necessary. He stopped them in any way. It and on. He has his hands on the ground to try to slow down the car. The man shouted, "The staff is to blame for everything," and his expression shows intense control of hope. He blames himself because Hey Sam was still felt in this chaos, and now he is trapped inside the car. Absolutely. Conflict destroys the asfalto, his hands, but the young man does not give up. He continues to cough while being dragged on the road, but he still fights with all his might. He felt helpless and realized he seems to be useless ability. He can't do anything to save them. In despair, he started begging for help, asking someone to save him from this nightmare. Unexpected, several dogs suddenly appeared and started jumping towards the vehicles used in the abduction. The little dogs, including Potato, will bite hard on the rope and shock the main staff in their honesty. Because of this, the animals and with Hinaa, the young man's body is back in an attempt to slow down the car and save him. In the joint, animal strength. Finally the rope was torn apart and the young man in asfalto, noticing that happened, suddenly prominent, the driver and the wheels slipped off the road. Boom, the car stopped, and the main staff were left lying on the ground to be surrounded by his 4-legged friends. Teholad uncle, what was done of dogs while protecting the wounded. The young man's body is serious, hurt, on the ground. Inside the car, angry, one of the abductors cursed when he saw the animals destroy it. Their plan. Because of this, get out of the car, the men in the suits, and prepared to face the soldier of raging dogs. One of the asked with disdain, "Staff, if the dogs are crazy, that's," as they continue, moaning. Meanwhile, the skeleton lying down on the ground, he seems to be losing consciousness and tried to yell at his friends. That stopped it. When impatient, assailants began to attack. The little dogs, using baseball bats, mercilessly. With great effort, the young man tried to get up. Because he can no longer accept small animals, the one who fights in his place. He clenched his fist and focused attention, knowing that it is necessary. He made a way to help his friends. At that moment, one of the dogs bit the leg of one of the men, with all his strength even if it is wounded. The main one thought of something, Saf, and he remembered the need of a particular liquid to restore faster. His body decided he will absorb the liquid, spill on the ground, to try to restore part of his body. Because of this, the young man crawled very hard towards the accumulated liquid in asphalto. But before he reaches his goal, one of the staff stepped on it, his hand, and prevented him from moving. Continued by attacking animals hurts. And the young man realized that it was necessary. He can recover to defend. Suddenly the main character looked to the side and saw Potato's body lying down on the ground. There is no lie. Fear filled the young man's face and his eyes widened. It tragic. He is witnessing. In shock, he named his dog Friend and couldn't believe the little animal was gone. He looked around and saw the bodies, other small dogs lying around. And there is no life. He called their names one by one. But the view is full of absolute sadness and destruction. At that moment, the young man remembered 10 years spent, he who is imprisoned in the laboratory. He lived in chains and suffered from other cruel experiments at the hands of those scientists. Every day he was made to drink a red substances and extracts of body parts, an unimaginable torture. Always, that's how the days go. And because of his power, he can't even choose one. His end will come. Up to one day, he planned an escape, and in a miracle, he got out of that place. The young man thought he would finally be happy. He is free from that lingering nightmare. But the reality is different, because people outside underestimated him, felt all the fear and disgust in his form, and he was treated like a monster. Because of this, he ended up living in a garbage dump, be alone and feel rejected. But something started throbbing inside him, a strange and powerful energy. The main character remembered the dogs and the student. He was the only one who showed him goodness. They treated he as a real person. And this wakes up a hidden power in his body. Because of this, a liquid spilled on the ground began to act towards him very quickly. Wrapped in red, the young man is a substance, and a dangerous energy spread all around. Socket, he has all the liquid, and began to restore his body in amazing way. His muscles and skin regenerated, and he felt stronger than ever. The liquid collected around his arm and built a strong and protective coating. At that moment, a new power awakened and reached no credible level. His ability to restore. With the power of the liquid he sucked, his hand fully restored in a blink of an eye. Eyes, a thick and red, the energy is rapid in his body. Afterwards, his face healed again, and his eyes is lit up in the extreme red color. Back to normal, the young man's body, and took shape again. Human he has long since lost. He looked at his own hand with amazement and realization, completely changed. His physique confirmed the young man who is no longer Sir, and everything is back to normal. He remembered his youth. Of his unique nature had given him extraordinary strength. But suddenly the young man realized an acquaintance, horrible truth about the original substance that healed him. The restorative fluid. It comes from small dog casualties while trying to defend him. The people shook with fear. Staff in there witnessed and questioned their leader. What should they do? The leader ignored the fear of his followers, staff and rushed with a knife to arrest him. But the hero is faster and let loose a very strong blow straight into the face of mannequin. Very strong right. Kaya tumlapan. The body of the staff is backwards in incredible, believable forces. The man flew and crashed into the side of the car that the whole thing sang of its body. He was stuck in the car door, completely lost consciousness after the sudden attack. The road is free. Boom. The young man carefully lifted the little one's body, potato, and bowed gently on the ground. Thud. He was his dog friend and mourned the loss. His companion. In the dark days, he said he knew the most painful way of passing away, someone's. The others were afraid, struggle, and he promised a terrible replacement for anyone first, says Saga. The scene moved to a secluded warehouse, apparently a secret station, some very dangerous and cruel men. Some black cars, the one parked in the yard, indicating that the area is full of armed men, staff, ready to act at any time. Suddenly someone took off the dark sack from the head of a captive who was there, littling and say, "Hey, hey," son of great anxiety, asking who these people are, as he tries to understand his condition. At that moment, the girl realized that she was in he is a dangerous place, and filled with real and deep fear. His face, the wilderness surrounded him, waking up. He seemed to enjoy his apprehension. Because of this, the girl wondered where he was, and why he was brought to this secret place, in the middle of nowhere. Boom. He is on the side and saw an acquaintance. Horrible sight. Strange people. Holds those biological sample, which completely surprised him. But later, it's already violent with Hana, one of the boys, the girl's hair, and told to stop creating noise. The leader of the group approached and asked if he had many extra life to scream like that. And the villain showed the picture of the skeleton and insisted that he was only there because he helped the first at some mute. Said he would keep quiet if he wanted to survive when it's all over. In the cruel days, the man added that no one cares if there are one or two people suddenly disappear. He there that day. Stop it. The student, while staring into the cold eyes of the abductor, realized it wasn't joking. Suddenly a cell phone rang. Inside the leader's jacket pocket. Some iris, in a heavy and scary moment. He answered the call and asked why his was calling. Staff, instead of coming, just included the target. On the other line, the staff mentioned the dog, and the villain was confused. Can't understand what happened. Reported by character whose monster bone became human, and the animals are the reason for everything. Because of this change to anger, the leader and ordered the man to speak clearly. To understand, he is the situation. Hey heard the conversation and thought, if the little dogs really come to save his friend. At that moment, the leader asked on the phone if the staff says they lost the skeleton. He almost went crazy with anger and shout that the target is very important and his staff is useless garbage. In anger, he kicked something and threatened to punish his men if they don't catch it again. The young man, fan of hatred, addressed he is the girl and asked where his friend was. At that moment, shouted that villain needed. He said everything is his now, and complaining that he lost money for running away. Scared, said by student he knows nothing about, but laughing. He is the kidnapper. And he has a knife and the girl was warned that she would pray a little to view if he can remember what happened. The girl remembered being warned. He is his friend, about following him. But Job. He was then, and ignored it. While the note is focused on his face, thinking what he should do to survive the dangerous situation. But suddenly, something unexpected happened. One of the men was thrown by force into the other, and both fell to the ground unconscious. Others were surprised, delinquent prepared for whatever entered the area. At the door, the main character appears in human form. with a very strong and dark aura of revenge. Turn around, the group leader at the door, and very confused by what was seen, mysterious figure, covered of shadows, the young man's face, and asked by feeling, "Who is that strange boy at the door?" One of the boys, the one who approached the young man, and called him a beggar because of his broken and dirty clothes, but quickly grabbed by the hero, the neck of the aggressor, and pinned again, very strong. The carrier can't breathe, went and wondered what kind of strength, what the young man is using now. In the cold gaze, explained by the main staff, because of them, a very bad event happened. He then revealed that it was because of them. All the little dogs are gone. On that tragic night, the leader shouted at his staff to deal with the one who got in, and two of them rushed to attack. One of the boys, the one who hit a very strong blow to the face of our hero, but he didn't even back down or show up reaction, and remained in his calm and scary expression. The young man immediately recovered in a mass, strong blow, hit right, downstairs the aggressor. His right is so cruel, so that delinquent, far away, and the main character still continues. Suddenly there was another one, staff who held him from behind and shouted that he had finally been caught. No, the other joined, and they were together. Anila, of forces, the young man's hair even hurt. His eyes lit up intensely. Red color, and he seems stronger than ever. He used that momentum and thrown one of the men on his shoulders with unbearable strength. The boss and the others were completely surprised. Personnel shown. The young man is very strong. Slowly he is stand up and look at the floor with deep anger on the face, with radiant eyes. He asked if they were sent by Hermes laboratory to catch him. The student couldn't believe it and ended up his changed expression upon seeing the scene. He realized that and was shocked by his new human form. The boss also understands, and shouted that the boy was the skeleton then. He remembered the warning, that he might not be recognized if he fully recovers. The leader suddenly drew his weapon and fired it behind the main staff felt the right one, but filling in the return of the young man alone, and pointed the weapon at the wounded. Its body. He ordered his men to take all weapons that they received as payment for their work. Those followed, henchmen, and they started shooting at the hero. Mercilessly. The boss shouted, "They see a lot if they catch him," and ordered his staff continued to fire. Because of this, the young man was hit by several bullets, and ordered by the villain that they keep firing until he can't recover. Keep getting hit. The body of the young man of projects forever chop his body. He felt great pain, and the red fluid flows down his face, and tears, torn clothes. The main thinks staff how bullets are divided his flesh as his bones break because of nothing incessant rain of projects. He felt his lungs being smuggled out, so he can no longer breathe properly. The scene is visible. Lost hope. Students and shouted to stop their cruelty. After so many shots, the hero's body fell to the ground, and celebrated the boys in his defeat. He was lying on the ground full of wounds. He seems to be forever, they lost. But suddenly his hand moved and grabbed the red liquid around him, and his body absorbs the red again. Floor flew. The liquid from those lost staff is flowing towards the main character to heal him. At that moment, his heart of resurrection shines. Intense and bomb, provided with very strong energy. Noticed one of the henchman the situation and shouted, desperate for the boss who warns of danger. The leader replied again. The target came to life, and little by little, the young man's body rises above itself. The leader of the group was scared, and said it looked like a zombie had risen. The red fluid acts on his body, and gradually treated all wounds from the shots. Desperate, Ordered by, the villains are the ones, personal to continue firing. Ian asks if they will just watch. He feels every project that comes in his body. But this time, his is different expression. Even when hit in the head, he thinks that he is divided. He have bullets, but even so many wounds, his body continues to heal strangely. Realized, but the young man is sick, it wasn't as intense as he first thought. Because he has been through more intense things in his dark past. He remembered his childhood, where he is being hurt and used in cruel and drain laboratory experiment. Squeezing, he has big presses, and subjected to various abominations, take the test every day. Because of this, the main one said, staff that the experiments were even more painful than, compared to what he is going through now. He took a heavy blow to the face. One of the neighboring delinquents. Very strong right. That was thrown the man far away, to the insulting, that stare, the hero said. That the guns are gone from him now. He can endure it all day. Left by, aggressor, with a Paris bruise on the face. Others were surprised, henchmen, while watching the young man move. As if there is too much power. However, the main one hit again. Staff to another henchman quickly. Intense and accurate punch. The man tried to defend oneself, but very strong right, and he could feel the force of the blow. Corrected by delinquent and tipped over in a metal tank. The hero thinks, what makes his anger so hot? The strongest feelings. He remembers the little dogs that were sacrifice of their lives to try to protect him. Because of this, released, he is his anger and started attacking all his enemies. Too fast and dangerous. Little's memory. A smiling potato appears in his mind, which further fueled his anger. He keeps fighting, thinking he didn't protected his only true friends. The boss saw the commotion, touched the student, and ran away, screaming not to. The young man approached. When he entered, Bentang, barely the student if the hero approaches. But no, ignored by the main staff is the threat. He took a fatal blow to the face. The kidnappers hit the right one directly. And the feeling of the villain, the full force of the unexpected and brutal attack. While still angry, his expression. The young man showed that he has no mercy for that man. He shouted that he would never see again his friends. And one last blow was thrown at the villain. The man's body hit in a metal tank that fractured and formed the groove from the impact. The leader of the group is lying down. His face was full of bruises. After the blow, he looked at the main character with great fear and realizing that he is in big problem. Now scared, the aggressor begged to forgive him and promised, "Will do anything to say yes." But the young man stared at him coldly and said, "It is too late for any forgiveness." Follow. A powerful kick. The one who hit the villain's head, who cried out in pain, from the right. The impact was so strong that it broke the earth and taste of red liquid. What the man fell in his mouth. The hero continued an attack. A strong blow hit the enemy in the face and didn't stop. He delivered one quick after another and brutal blow to the body of kidnapper. The speed of the blows is very intense, so the man can't react to defend oneself. After the blow, the face of the villain is deformed, and the young man watched the scene coldly. Red liquid flows from the hands of the main staff who were hurt after so many blows. He crossed over the lost boss body that no longer moves on the dirty floor. The camera moves away and saw a henchman laying down, and the warehouse is on absolute chaos. The young man took a deep breath, and steam came out of his mouth. A sign that the battle is over. The match is over, called by Estudiant, his friend's name. The voice was a little shaky but relaxed. Ever, the young man was heading towards him, bare feet in the dirty warehouse floor. He kept coming closer and watching. She is a woman of concern. Expression. Stop. The young man in front of his friend, still sitting on the floor, don't know what to say. Asks the girl is him if he is well, remembering that there are many right what he accepted before falling to the ground. Suddenly the hero appeared and hugged the student tightly, surprised by his behavior. He blew out in his eyes. He felt the relief, because his friend is safe. Said bot, Fadi is happy he was still alive, and hugged him. He also returns with love. At that moment, he joked with a sad voice that the dogs died to save him from mercy. Compassionate attack. The young man said very much. He was afraid that he might get hurt. He is in the middle of fish. Because of this, he said again that he was very happy that he is still alive, and their hug is tighter. Confused, the girl thought, why does he thank her for this? It's hard at strange moments. The young man's chest was in his hand. He felt how much close the friend he in the whole situation. Said by, he is the student to thank. Because the young man saved him within a dangerous situation. In the scene, the police arrived, and the detective yelled at the officers to bring. The suspects were immediately at the station. At that moment, one of those henchmen, those who survived the trouble, were chained already by a policeman. While lowered, he heads in defeat. The warehouse is full of criminals, and investigators wonder how there were so many damage in an internal conflict. From afar, observe F2, the police driving their cars. And the woman wondered, couldn't they also investigate? But the girl explained that hers said sister that they don't interfere, because the situation is complicated when mutants are involved. So to sadden, they leave and let the older woman, the one who handled the whole mess, under the light of the full moon. Suddenly the one is crying loudly, student because of tragic he witnessed. Neither fasting, the young man, and began to cry. He hid his face in his hands. He was filled with great sadness, while looking the little dogs lying on the floor, and apologizing because he didn't Maselba, his little friends. The hero remembered the name of each animal that did offer of life for him, and felt a great loss in his heart. Thuggy, the girl is one of that, and said that it was his fault, because small animals just want to be saved, he from the bad guys. He regretted that he didn't. They are well taken care of, and cry. Thinking about the moment of love, it just became everything for the dogs. At that moment, the young man bit his own finger hard, and said that it was not the girl's fault, because for him, the animals dying. The student was shocked and asked what was being done. His friends, seeing the wound done, the young man explained to himself that he could make malum using blood, and wondering if that's possible, is his special liquid to activate his friends again. With a determined gaze, he sends the red fluid into the animal's body, hoping for a miracle. The young man is focused on all his will in this strange plan. Hope that his mutant status will achieve the impossible. Even in pain, he continues to hurt his own hand, and asking why his is so fast. Regeneration. Now he bit harder as the red liquid flows, and he seems to be completely ignoring it, the physical pain. He feels the weight of sacrifice of his friends. His friend was holding him on the arm, and he says to stop it, because small dogs will only be sadder if they can see it. With a sad face, the young man wondered if he wasn't. Dogs hate him because they died because of him. But his friend is holding him, and explained how much they really are little animals love. He said that at first, they are very afraid and don't like people, but they feel differently about him. The young man was surprised and wondering if there really is any doubt. The dog, to all people. Completed. The girl explained, saying they have a lot scar from the pain, abuse, and bad memories. While caressing one of the pets, the young man admitted that he had no idea, because he thought they were just really nice. Because of this, the girl told him not to blame himself, because it will also break the hearts of animals. The hero sat there. There is an animal in his invitation, thinking everything he heard. The girl smiled and said that the simple walk of the animals to him undoubtedly probably is because they felt that their friend is in a similar situation of their own past. The young man thanked for the comforting words and stayed. The two are silent of the moment. Suddenly something is gentle, cry that caught their attention, and they looked in the direction of the sound. At that moment, the puppy appeared. Is a potato and too much, nap again, the student's heart that it survived. Can't understand. They watch the little dog slowly. The one who approaches them in the open area. The puppy stopped in front, the young man and the man, steel weapon, while looking at him intensely. The hero asks. The little one is angry with him, because he lost his family, because of him. But in response, the young man's hand is a small animal, as if to say that everything is fine. Flows. The young man at the scene, and filled. His friends, that seems, absolutely, the puppy liked him. Suddenly the little dog fell asleep in the hero's arm. And the girl said that it must be tired. Thought of, student what to do. And thought that maybe, he brought the new one, they are puppies, go home with him. The girl thought, a study on what to do. To his friend and the puppy. Especially abnormal, the people from the laboratory. So he told the young man to wait. Take a moment and he ran to call his brother, to ask for help. On the phone, the girl explained the situation and asked where they should be, though now that it's all over. After the call, they both walked to Pneumonia and be careful, the young man was holding the little puppy. They came to a large building. An apartment it seems, residential residence of the student and his family. They enter. The young man looks around. And his friend told him. And go in and feel it. The house that belongs to him. But nay, wearable, he at the door, wondering if it's right to go in. Someone like that. He is dangerous at his friend's house. The student smiled and said that he put himself in danger, his life, to protect him. So he has no reason to be afraid. Besides this, revealed that he wants to meet, he is his brother. Because it might help, he in a case, about the laboratory. Because of this, the young man was persuaded to enter. And finally accepted, he invited his friend. While inside, he saw his own reflection to a window and confused by what was seen, image. Suddenly, a shock, and he was afraid of himself, which surprised the girl. He grabbed his friend's shoulder and shouted, my face is back. My pigeon nose and lips. The young man explained that he did not know, because his face hasn't regenerated yet. Ever since he was a kid in the laboratory. Holding the mirror, he looks at himself and realizes that is finally visible, he is his true form. Naintrika, the girl in the story, and drink water. Then said that he had been thinking about something for a long time, about this. He asked the young man's age. Because now that he is regenerated, he doesn't look old. The young man thought, and said that he had not thought for a long time about his age. He remembered that he entered the lab for 7 years, old and escaped. 3 years after 7 years of analysis. After compute. The young man said he was 17 years old. Apuka, the girl's mouth watered in shock and surprised. He was asked why he was letting it be called. He is the sir, then they are the same age. I'm screaming, and the young man explained that he was just happy. Considered he is a friend, as a person. The student was completely silent when he heard. Honest and sad answer. He thought the situation was sad. But at the same time, visible, he has a cute attitude. So suggested. He said they should just call each other by name, and invite. He ate, after showering. Meanwhile, the little puppy used the opportunity to loan his food of the whole enthusiasm at the table. The young man, nowadays permanent clean clothes, prepared for his first real meal. His eyes are open, in food, and shout that everything is warm and delicious. A few, the friend, and said that simply, it's just a dish. Apologies for not being good enough. Boom. But the young man insisted. This is the best food that he had tasted all his life. The girl explained that something suddenly happened to the brother. He can't be with her, so she can't be with him, now as planned. Upon exhaustion of the plates, it is clear how much the young man was hungry and how much he liked it, the food. So he points to the sofa and says he can sleep there tonight to relax. He handed the blanket to his friend, who is a little shy, but grateful for the kindness. The student smiled and cheered. Said to go, he in his room, to finish his homework. After closing the bedroom door, the young man was left behind, be alone in the living room. For the first time, holding the blanket, he looks around, as little as possible, little by little getting used to his new reality. Examined of his eyes each details of the house, and amazed he is in normality of all. The hero was surprised, seeing the television and wondering how it can be huge and thin. Looking at the flowers on the floor, he wonders how different this place is. Before, and there is no life. Laboratory. He lay down on the sofa and was surprised by her comfort, softer than her bedding. So, meanwhile, drink water, the little puppy, but ended up vomiting a little of the food he ate earlier. The puppy looks sick and surprised the hero in that event. Realized what happened immediately happened to him and looked at his little friend with shock. Constantly vomiting a small animal, the food, and it looks like weak and fragile. Desperate, the young man shouted the puppy's name, and his face is full of worry. He ran towards the puppy to try to help in any way. Intention. That moment. Stop. He is in front, a little animal looking only to him with confusion. But suddenly the little animal was fine and just turned the head to the side. Plot of hero who doesn't exist yet, serious problem, and breathed a sigh of relief, thought to be a false alarm. That's all. Then they both lay down, says sofa, and the puppy is stick around to him in a very cute way, placed on his shoulder. He thought how much warm and comfortable the place to sleep peacefully. While smiling, the young man asked the new companion if he is also satisfied with theirs new safe home. He started thinking of a name. Because the father, it's potato, proposed. His name is French fry. The hero decided to call it Fry, and seemed to really like it. The name is small, while beating him. Finally, he understood the true meaning of happiness and fell asleep, warm in his heart. Returned to his memory the events of that day, the food that he ate earlier, and the hot palagon that he was able to experience for the first time after a long time. He was happy to remember that he had taken a bath. He is in hot water and very grateful for the moment. That of peace. And finally, he remembered that he could now sleep peacefully in this very comfortable place. But while sleeping soundly, he felt a nightmare and thought how much doubles happiness will be ruined. With a sad smile, he reflected that all this can be lost very easily. He remembered running away from the laboratory, along with other mutants, running desperately. It was then that he and his companions will run towards the exit, expecting they are finally free. But suddenly the guards of facility and said that they cannot lose the important ones. That's a mutant. Suddenly something exploded, and running away was thrown hard. The hallway floor was cut, and the youth fell among the ruins. There is no chance of survival. A soldier prepared and raised weapons, energy towards the mutants on the floor. The end of weapons is radiating intensely, preparing for a devastating attack. But the bullet was defended and hit right at the guards who were surprised by the sudden attack. The other soldiers were very shocked. What happened in front of them? At that moment, a young woman has black hair, the one who used his ice power to attack the enemies on the floor. The hero seems to be surprised, and the girl screamed to wake him up from his retreat. Meanwhile, a young man, the one who used his power to touch the floor, suppress all that fall. With a determined gaze, he has everything to protect his friends from the deadly trap. Look, the young man in front of someone new, determination, and finally prepared to act. The girl reached out her hand and shouted for them to hurry, because the exit is so close. The young man took his friend's hand, and they prepared to continue the desperate escape. He remembered how fast they ran, but in the end, they are now separated in the present. The young man opened his eyes, and the nightmare is finally over. The sad end. Lying in bed and thinking about his friends from the lab, asking if they are suffering anywhere. Because of this, he promised himself that he will not let anyone be taken. That little piece of happiness he found. His stars flashed slightly and affirms his promise to protect the new friend. Anyway, in this way, the mutant's heart beats loudly, and he decided to fight the newfound happiness. In serious look, the young man warned that if anyone tries to destroy his moment of peace, he will not miss it, and he will do everything to achieve revenge with anyone up their sleeve. The next day, a desperate cry echoed in the city, gets the attention of everyone around. Someone is running fast in the streets, and his quick footsteps indicates that something very serious happened at the moment. That's what we see: the hero running, and Fry screams the name of his little puppy. There are tears in his eyes. He screamed desperately and asking where his only friend is. The student announced that he was leaving, went to school, and became curious the young man in strange terms. The girl explained that her brother was just coming back at night and asked him to take care of the house and the son. After the girl says goodbye, and the hero thinks that this thing is definitely fun about school, the girl suddenly noticed that it was a small French fry, weeping and scraping the wall with zeal. They both watched the strange behavior of the animal as it continues to make noise in the corner. The student asked curiously if the pet wants to go out, and the young man notices that it's not sick, it's just bored. So the hero decided to release the little companion to walk on the street. But the friend showed concern and asked if not dangerous people are still chasing him with a smile. The young man said that everything is fine, because no one can recognize his new human form. The girl was happy to agree with the explanation, and became more complacent in the knowledge that the hero is safe now. The girl pointed to the drawer where the leash is placed, and gave the door code to get him out. The young man tried to control the small animal continuously, constantly jumping and barking in the street with great difficulty. He tried to touch the pet, and realized that it was very complicated to walk the dog, seeing the struggle of Fry. He wonders if the accessory is annoying on its neck. The hero was worried and was afraid that he might tighten the leash too much at the moment. That he covered his face, and remembered when he was himself is dying heavily in a flashback. The young man remembered the difficulties in the lab, where he received intense electricity while tied up because of this trauma. He thinks he might. Others don't like the beast, and get stuck in his thoughts. After the hero released the leash and apologized to the little animal that suddenly just disappeared in his sight, the young man, suddenly shocked and desperately, realized that little French fry ran away on the street. The hero screams the name of the little pet as he ran at full speed, full of desperation, hoping to find it soon. Tears are pouring in his eyes, while wondering where his only friend has been. In such a tense moment, the journey of the resurrected young man who swam continued. The whole world was changed because of the loss of his pet. He passed some people on the sidewalk, calling on the little animal to respond with his strong, and immediately shouting, he started digging in the trash cans. and peek into every dark corner. His heart fluttered as he approached each space. He knelt under the broken debris. But only a few scared rats. What he found in the extreme. Concerned, he peered behind a large dumpster and continued his violent and desperate search in strange surroundings. At last, he sat on the floor and cried, thinking how he can find the puppy in such a wide area. Losing hope, he thinks the worst. A truck might step on his pet. Or maybe there are bad people who can hurt Reto. So much his bereavement, and accuses himself of losing the puppy just one day after he promised to always protect this. Suddenly he stopped in an alley and looked at a building in the distance. Apparently, this is the school his friend mentioned in the field. He saw some students playing ball, and there he found the little puppy, silently cleaning his foot in the middle of the bushes. No idea the worry he caused his boss. The hero immediately ran towards the bush at full speed, wondering if the puppy watched. The smell of the curl unexpected. There was a man passing by, surprised, and turned around, trying to understand what is happening. The young man flew in front of the man, but he didn't even touch the young man's clothes. The man was in a hurry, amazed at that speed, and wondered how this could be. Fast a man continues the hero's desperate run, while the man is falling to wait for him, but the only thought of the young man will save his pet. Meanwhile, the students are playing their soccer game, unknowingly known to be a powerful mutant, those who come in their place. We see the students enjoying in the fence, while the environment in the school is lively and peaceful. In the bleachers, there are students relaxing and talking about what happened on the day. Hidden behind a tree, the hero carefully observes the surroundings so that no one notices him at that moment. Focus his gaze on a particular group, trying to get every detail of it. Seems they have an important conversation. Soon the young people begin to discuss the origin of mutants, and if the news is true about the laboratory. One of the men, the one who showed up on his phone the prize for a captured mutant, reaches to 1 billion when heard the enormous amount. Gio realizes how people look outside his kind as a product. Just because of this, Gio decides he needs to find Fry immediately and Lee, even before something bad happens. Meanwhile, Fry is happily running in the yard, unconscious Malay in the danger that surrounds him. In another corner of the school, there are some girls recording a dance challenge to post on their social media. After completing the recording, they watch the video and praise the beauty of each one, while many smile. The group leader is looking at his phone, very proud of the results. As his friends continue the super compliments, unexpectedly appeared the little animal, running onto the ladies, who were surprised by the cute and furry guests. Fascinated, they took the puppy and started showing love to him because it was so small and its attractiveness. Because of this, the students decided to take pictures with their new friend to post on their stories, and get a lot of clicks that afternoon. But when they saw the result of the picture, they noticed a dark form behind them and screamed in terror. Scared, the woman accused Gio of being a strange stalker. Secretly take a picture with them. Nahi. Gio came out from behind the tree and apologized. Explained that he was only looking his puppy with a very shy expression. Gio said it was not his intention to scare anyone, and he just wants to recover. Fry immediately at that moment changed the perspective of women, and they noticed that theirs were red. Chic to see that the puppy with Ari is. They looked really handsome, his clothes, and realized that he might be a new student, because they haven't seen him at school before. After Gio asked if he disturbed their video, and asked by the leader of the group if he wants to be included in the recording here. The other student laughed and said that he was very cute, as Joe insisted that he cannot appear in videos, but the woman ignored his answer and reached for his phone, requesting his social media handle so that they will follow one. Holding Fry in his arms, the woman said she would establish Gio's profile post, while his friends carefully watched the situation. Women documented in one. This is the first time their friend requested someone's contact info and said that really handsome the man confused Gio at the moment. That's he doesn't understand what the photo app is. Women said that famous the account of one of them in the area. That's it. In a sly smile, the girl thought the new guy was cute, and her shyness makes her the perfect accessory. But Dilo retreated and admitted that he didn't have any social media that left the girls. Uff panicked. At that moment, the leader of the group was stunned and asked himself if what he heard is correct. From Sa, the young man said, after Jo bowed and thanked the invitation but said he had to refuse and apologize for the inconvenience. His friends were very surprised and already commented they don't thought the most popular girl in school would be rejected like that. Because of this, the girl got angry and thought that Jay was just playing so hard to get, because it is impossible that someone does not want his contact info. Soon Jaeho took Fry and said that they will go home while the student is burning wrath within. Gio sets his puppy and apologized for losing it. Promises it won't happen again, but said D. Far away there is a red the hair that is delinquent, watching everything that happens, and was filled with anger at the scene he was witnessing in the fence. The bully's friends also watch the incident and wonder. Oh, the strange guy talking to their boss girlfriend. Because of this, one of the young people asked if that isn't it, their boss's girlfriend, and the man assured that with a terrifying and heavy gaze. Gio continues to take care of the little puppy, not noticing that the group of troubled youth. His every move is monitored the villain Shab, and thinking that Jo is cheating on his girlfriend right in front of him. Because of this, the delinquent asked one of his friends for a ball. Can't understand the sudden request, but the bully ignored him and prepared his kick with all his might, while shouting in desperation his friend the kick was very strongly deformed the ball, because the impact is so strong. The ball flies towards the target, and the aggressor said that he doesn't care with the consequences. The ball goes straight towards Kdeo holding the Fry and was surprised by the sudden attack. But instead of running away, he blocked the ball with his face and looked at the enemy with a very cold and frightening look. His serious expression shows that he will not allow the harsh to get through an unprovoked attack. Fry remained safe in the arms of his Uri. Bravely defended. This from the kick has a very strong impact. So the dust rose, but Joe did not retreat to his place. The women were amazed at the scene at that moment. One of the concerned students approached and asked questions. If only he was okay after being hit in the face by the ball, but suddenly there is red liquid picking up on the floor, and shouted the young student, in fear of seeing Joe's wound. The aggressor approached. There was a mixture of concern and said that what happened was just an accident, because he didn't mean to hit anyone with the ball. With a forced smile he apologized for the mistake and asked by his girlfriend if Gio was hurt badly, because the ball is right. The bully told Keijo to be careful next time, and he just looked at her silently, while there was blood running on his nose. Gio said his puppy almost got hurt, and requests a formal apology. The delinquent laughed out loud and pointed Gio's nose bloody from both sides, but he immediately stopped, remembering watching his girlfriend, and he has to maintain the image of the good man in front of him. So his demeanor changed and asked if Gio was okay. And it is recommended to go immediately to the NAR's office. But Paul, Gio said again that what matters is his puppy. And must be careful the aggressor in the next kick after. He said that everything is fine because the other guy and the bully have apologized. Was completely confused by this calm reaction. Gio and one of the bullies left. The commenter that it was good that he faced the kick, but the boss ordered him to shut up angrily. The group leader ordered his comrades to find out who the new guide is, because it generated a lot of anger for Gio. While walking on the street, Gio thought about the fear he experienced, but he was glad to have found his puppy. He also smiled because thanks to the puppy, he saw a school and watched people. He was as tall as he was enjoying Gio's smile, and thought if he could make many friends, if he studied in this place. Suddenly the aggressor called him his friend, and Gio turned around, couldn't understand its closeness. The bully put his arm on Gio's shoulder and apologized for what happened in the field earlier. At the ball, the red hair said they were on the same grade. So now they are friends. And Gio was very confused by the situation. After the aggressor offered to buy him a snack as an apology. And Gio doesn't understand love, it said, but upon hearing the word bread, Gio's eyes lit up. Because he has never eaten like this in his entire life. He asked, "Is this serious?" And the bully took him to a place with good bread. Near there, Gio asked if Fry had anything to eat, and the aggressor promised to buy it. Whatever the puppy wants. Red hair thinks that maybe Gio is just hungry to avoid embarrassment in front of the girls earlier. Suddenly, the bully pushed his leg in front of Gio. He was laying sideways on the ground. Gio fell hard, while the aggressor was just silently looking at the scene with a cruel smile. He noticed the other men around and thought he fell in the trap while protecting the small animal. One of the bully's colleagues insulted him during his fall because in the story of free snacks thought other bullies. If a little is the new guy stupid and easy to believe in the story of bread. The boss said he would be given a knuckle sandwich. And we saw some students lying bruised on every side. Gio faced a group and the leader painted him as a weakling. And poor disgusted the leader of the gang and asked why the new guy started trouble with her. Gio calmly asked what I love. It says, and shouted the aggressor that he was cheating on his girlfriend. Because of this, the bully warned him that someone like him will just cry with a loud blow. The other delinquents teased him, and the leader teased him because brought a dog to school. Gio covered his face and thought that he was invited to be friends. But it turned out to be he just apologized for the mess and tried to leave. But the red hair prepared to attack him from behind. Because of this, colleagues blocked him, attempting to escape in the ambush. While having a serious expression, the young man told them to back off because his little pet is afraid. One of the aggressors is disgusted with his behavior, and suddenly Gio rushed to teach him a lesson. But immediately responded the hero by a neat but precise blow that hits exactly on the opponent's chin. Riku immediately went to bed and lost Mali, fall to the ground the delinquent, and surprised the others with the strength of the mysterious young man. Blushed the face of the gang leader and can't believe what happened in front of him. Curiously advanced the other companions to rap and attack Gio. At the same time, they wondered how the new guy managed to knock out their friend in a fast, just an accurate punch, but he just silently stared at them, using the cold eyes, and prepared himself in the fight about to start. At that moment, the mutant's heart beat in him with dark energy and began to awaken his power. Then he avoids the enemy's attacks and hits them using super speed and strength more, to the people of not given a chance the aggressor. He continues to send the precise blows, and knocking them down. Isa. In the last blow he hit the leader's face. Didn't even react to defend himself. Gio ended the match by throwing stones at the leader on his shoulder with tremendous force in just one blow. He hit the aggressor's head on the stone wall that broke. Because of the strength of the right, he gave them a warning saying stop. Because small fry is so scared of all the chaos. The other students watching were surprised and scared from about the damage done by the new man on the wall. They shouted that the young man was a monster and ran away, afraid of his weirdness, and very strong. The delinquent looked at the fallen wall and can't believe it broke with the force of the blow. He was very scared and thought he was in great danger. He thinks it's just a blow from that young man can crush all his bones. He now understands that he has ventured with the wrong person, and his face, different expression in pure fear and desperation at the moment. That very hesitant bowed to red-haired boy on the ground and begged for forgiveness, promising, "Will never cause trouble again." He tried to explain himself by showing a photo of one's own puppy to prove that he loves animals too, and he didn't want to hurt the little pet quietly. And he'd thanking the hero while the aggressor. He kept begging to forgive him. And it seems that the young man also considers the weak and new excuses. The delinquent continues to show his phone. And the whole scene it seems very different. Especially when he suddenly showed an energetic appearance and friendship suddenly raged the young man's stomach. And he said that he used a little strength, and now is very hungry because of this. Totally confused the red hair, and wondered why the new man is thinking the food in this situation at that point. The aggressor thought that the young man was a cunning man suddenly asking for food. In exchange for his forgiveness the scene changed. And we saw his friend inside the classroom. After a while they arrived at the school's convenience store to finally buy the hero's snack I bought. On table full of food, the protagonist thanked and prepared for their pleasure, while the aggressor is watching from afar. The young man began to devour all the food with excitement and watched her with red hair from afar trying hard understand the whole situation. He shared a little. The bread little fry happily barked and seemed to like the strawberry stuffing of the snack. Because of this the boy with red hair was confused. Because the young man looks strong but acts like a fool. And he doesn't understand her personality. The aggressor recalled that the young man was kicking out the Isa to his comrades with just one punch and wondered if he was an athlete, but he immediately rejected the idea. Because even a professional player can't break the wall with a man's head. Because of this he thought he had to take drastic measures and called his boss to seek help in this situation in an underground case in it. The so-called boss answered the call and asked what his staff wants to him. At that moment, the red-haired boy begged desperately for help and said that he has a very complicated situation and needs backup. On the other line the man complained that he was always the only one looking for someone to beat and calling him useless. Because of this the red hair begged again, asking to save his reputation, at least once to not embarrass him. The boss agreed to help and told his friends that one of his men was beaten by a new student at school. He laughed at the situation, but he said that it bored and stops to see what's going on. The aggressor was encouraged and thanked promises to prepare the target for the arrival of the backup. In a malicious smile, the red-haired boy closed the phone, and the transfer students swore to regret it. They birth. Suddenly the hero offers one of his snacks to the aggressor, who was surprised by the young man's unexpected act. The young man said that he was pitiful to eat all one. But the Asa refused and said that he could take all. The aggressor gave all the snacks to the young man and said that he can also take the drinks and everything he bought. The young man was happy and shared the food with his puppy, while wondering the red hair, how can a person be this strong, but so innocent? He watched the young man feed his pet and noticed the strangeness in his hand it seemed. Suddenly, the aggressor recovered, remembering that he punched the wall, but now the young man's hand was perfect, as if nothing had happened. He connected the events and realized that the young man was May superhuman strength at Napakabilisna regeneration. He remembered a video and thought that heart mutants are. There can be others, different abilities depending on their form. He was suddenly surprised by the possibility and asked if the young man is mutant, but in the end the puppy vomited everything he ate. The hero was shocked and denied the accusation, but sure the aggressor that he is a real mutant. Because of this amazed the red hair, because this is the first time he has seen something like this creature in real life, and it seems normal its form. He remembered that heart mutants are dangerous, and he was afraid of what might happen. Now, the red-haired one thinks that his boss will be beaten for no reason if it goes to school. The man yelled on the other phone line, warning his staff that the boy in front of him is very dangerous and powerful mutant. The aggressor says that the situation is serious, and they should stop the plan, but the boss has a different idea. The boss said to hold the target, whatever happens, because the mutant is too important to let get away. The hero finished eating and said he was leaving, but the red hair had to stop the young man till the backup arrives. The aggressor is worried and asks why the hero is leaving. That way there is still time before the end of the break. The hero smiled and explained that he had to go home more. Reminds the aggressor of the weight of the situation desperately. Plano needs red hair to restrain the young man, and he can't leave before the right time. He suggested skipping class and enjoying it first, out of school. The hero was interested in the suggestion. They came in an arcade and marveled the hero at the lights and sounds of a strange place. The young man walked around, and the aggressor thought that this is the hero's first time in this place. The hero's eyes shine, while he says that he did not know that there were such places. Amazed the red hair, in what he heard he watched each detail of the new technology world with great admiration. The hero suddenly notices a claw machine and met his friend's plush toy Nissa backpack. Can't believe the aggressor, and wondered what the young man had done in his life. So he hasn't seen the claw machine yet. He offered to pay for the game, and glad the hero tried to get it with the help of the aggressor. The hero controls the claw, and amazed at the mechanism, while taking a plush toy in perfect motion. The young man got the plush toy, and celebrated loud in his victory. He hugged the toy, happy that he got the same plush toy that has his friend in the backpack. The aggressor observes this, and thought it wouldn't be a problem to stop the young man till the boss arrives. He teaches a karaoke place, and asking if the hero has ever been to this place in all his life. The two sat down and the aggressor explained that they can sing their favorite songs and enjoy very shy the hero, and admitted that he was not even a song that surprised the red hair in his answer. Because of this he started singing a lullaby about the picnic and cotton candy that his mother taught him. The red hair was annoyed and asked, why is he singing a song for the child in this place? The hero explains that this is the only song he knows, because when he was young he was dedicated to his family. He revealed that since then, he no longer has a normal life, and didn't get a chance learn the other songs. The aggressor was amazed at the story, and felt pity on the hero's sad past. It seemed very sad and alone. He wonders if heart mutants are always weird. And little by little he changes his opinion about the young man, and there is shame at the mercy felt by the aggressor, the pain of the hero's heart. And he realized that the mysterious young man had affected him. Then he offered the hero money and said that he would show her a new world starting from now. Suddenly they started playing the drum game with full energy. And the red hair screamed, faster, pressing in another fighting game. The hero used his foot, which annoyed the aggressor. Because Sassim's dirty tricks in a dancing game became clumsy the hero. And Nat Ambaz on the floor with the puppy in his arms. The aggressor laughed in the shade of the hero. At the same time they enjoyed the lively arcade outside. The two breathed heavily. And the red hair said like they played cray either. The hero agreed, and said that this is the first time. He really enjoyed this. The aggressor is also happy to drink water, but the red hair noticed something strange. And stopped what he was doing, holding the water bottle tightly. With a nervous smile he looked at the phone, and wondered who was calling him. At the wrong time when he answered the call, the boss yelled at him on the other line, scolding him that he should be faster. Answer next. He suddenly remembered that he holds the hero for his master to teach a lesson. Right now at that moment. The young man looked at the photographs, they got it together. And he realized that he acted like a complete fool out of them. He sees the picture of them posting something funny. And he noticed that despite his lack of kindness, he developed a real connection with his friend. Meanwhile the hero continues to play with his little pet, not knowing the betrayal being planned against him. The scene moved in the dark alley, where the group of criminals is mixed with fear and eagerly awaiting the arrival of the young mutant, with his pet bow the red hair in front of the leader, and apologized 1,000 times because he failed in his mission earlier. But the master was very angry and asked if his staff is tempting him in this place. Despite that dazzling place, the aggressor began to sweat, and he thinks that the change of his feelings isn't just because of his new friend Tao. He looked at the hero sitting with the puppy and understood that this little creature, the only family there is, the boy in his life, holding the face, felt the rush, quantitative deep regret, and said that this whole situation is so sad for him. Then he showed the picture of his own little pet and said that he completely understands the pain of losing a faithful companion. In great effort set the young man before the hero, and he almost regretted it. Let his friends perish. The little dog in the moment. That's when he thought he had to protect the pet from any danger that may come. Because of this the young man decided to face his gang. But he immediately realized that absolutely when the leader's patience with him ran out. Suddenly, the boss hits a vicious blow in the face of red hair, thrown on the side because of the extreme forces of right. While lying on the ground, trembling in pain, the subordinate of the approached the villain to continue his cowardly threats against him. The man finally grabbed the traitor in the hair and shouted Bitidu's name. It is clearly shown that his punishment, the boss has just started recruiting the red hair, and asked full of anger, where now hides the mutant in the moment. That reminded him how much he enjoyed it with the kid in the arcade, and he realized his friend was simply a normal child. Meanwhile, the other staff surrounds the young man with the children, steel pipe ready to do very bad things on chance. Those are the masked criminals. Was watching the scene with a cold gaze, awaiting the gang leader's orders. After asking the brave man if the subordinate who gathered the whole gang thinks they're just a waste time on lies. But Tadu prayed desperately. It is said that it's just a misunderstanding about the target they are looking for. He remembered that the young man lost Malay due to fatigue after playing only 2 games, and apparently a typical loser with a bleeding face. The delinquent insisted that only the hero was trash and apologizing to the villain when he came to that place. The leader suddenly smoothed the doubter's head and asked if the red hair really says that the child does not exist. Because of this, the aggressor placed a fake arm around the young man and asked if he was annoyed with some blows from his older brother. After the man lit a cigarette and said that the face of the subordinate shows all the lies he tries to hide. At this point, the villain demands to know the real reason why the delinquent suddenly changes the story about the mutant's whereabouts. The young man trembled at the thought that he might not human the hero and know how much the world hates strange creatures like him. Because of this, the boss started laughing loudly and asked if the child is really worried for his safety. At that moment, but Red Hair remained silent, as he realized more and more the situation is becoming dangerous for him. Suddenly the villain raised his hand and offered 5 million pesos as a reward if he gives the target immediately. Immediately there is a malicious smile. He revealed that he now has a buyer willing to take the child to the laboratory without a trace. NASA as a whole shocked the red hair and wondered if what his master was doing was not real human trafficking. He remembered the news on his phone about mutants being sold to the government, and he realized that everything was real and cruel at the moment. That was shaking his hand on the floor, and he understood his superior was more cruel monsters than he thought were on the floor. The redhead tried to insist that there was nothing special the hero, but the boss didn't believe him. Because of this, the villain lost patience and beaten hard the stomach of the subordinate. Not prepared correctly, the impact is very strong. So the young man flew and crashed into the wall brutally and unexpectedly lying on the floor. The pain he feels is so much and almost can't breathe after the strong blow that let the wind out of him. The leader he has forgiven complains angrily many things, but now his patience has run out. He stomped on the delinquent's head with all his might and called him tiresome for lying to him. After that, the man ordered his men to strike the traitor until forever it can tell the whole truth about the mutant. Other aggressors followed and began to kick the young man's body mercilessly. In that moment of anger, the young man tried to protect himself, but there were many blows, and Palo the hit on his whole body continuously. He remembered the past when he was that kid being beaten by other school bullies. At that time, the little boy begs them to stop, but they continued their cruel and cowardly attack. Suddenly appeared his future boss and asked why new kid beat his friend like this, afraid to flee the aggressors, and the man told the young man to come with them because he is already part of the gang. The little boy looked at him with admiration, and the leader called him by name, asking if he's okay after everything. In another memory, the man taught him how to fight and said that he was his elder brother. From then on in that family, he used to think that loyal his master, a great warrior, and he will not leave anyone but in the present, constantly beating the red hair. And it seems that his admiration for the boss has completely disappeared. The delinquent remembered that he wants to be like his older brothers because they used to look cool and strong. Wonders the villain if the young man doesn't know anything and says that he sees the lie in his eyes. From afar, the leader looked to him and said with sincerity, the young man, and that is awesome. In the end, even though he was beaten too much, still tried. Red hair insists that the hero is worthless and asking the boss to believe in him. But the leader explained that if he sells the target of Manga, he will only get a little money, and he is not smart. The man says there is no value honesty if the body is destroyed, and orders a crew to bring a chain Holding the chain, he reminded the young man that his dream, live cool and stylish, with his friends. The villain said that doing a lot, shameless money the best and coolest way to live in this world. There is a malicious smile. He says they can live cool together if the young man cooperates with the plan. But the delinquent boss called him and apologized, but his expression shows that he has already made an important decision. Because of this, the young man said that his master is not cool and faced him with a look full of disappointment. At sadness, he was surprised by his own words and wondered why he saying that to a very dangerous person at this point. The boss's expression changed forever and understood that his subordinate really betrayed him. This scared young man tried to apologize with red hair and said he said that without thinking, but apparently don't want to listen. The villain in a full of angry stare. The leader told the traitor that he was a fatal blow is being destroyed and prepared with the chain in the hand, but suddenly a hand appeared and grabbed the fist of the aggressor of May. Incredible strength, stopping his devastating attack. The boss was surprised and noticed that the chain was thick and full of welding marks. It is therefore dangerous as a weapon. He knows that a blow from which he will leave a big scar. He sees the hero holding his arm effortlessly. Difficulty completely confused the other staff, and asking who the new guy is suddenly appeared and destroyed everything in his bruised face. The red hair asked how his friend found him hidden and dangerous. Skinny. The protagonist explains that he is the one who went out to find her because it won't come home, and he was so worried for her, in tears in the eyes. The wounded young man shouted to his friend to run because these people are dangerous. He knew people, but the young man revealed that he was. Turns out the gang called to teach Chio a lesson, and he was very sorry, continued the red hair, and reveals that he also told them that Chio is a mutant, and asks the hero why in a bruised face. The protagonist is gritting his teeth in pain and remorse for betraying his new friend. He revealed that he did everything because he was angry with the young man beating him earlier at school. But the protagonist says that that is not the reason, and asked why his friend is beaten with a heavy chain. The gang leader watches the scene with a malicious gaze and seems to enjoy all the chaos at this point. The red hair was very surprised and could not believe that the young man is worried for him. Suddenly, meanwhile, one of the busy staff took advantage and tried to hit the hero on the head with a baseball bat. The masked aggressor seems determined to finish the young man and used all his strength in that traitorous attack. In the angry gaze shown by the protagonist, he will not allow the aggression to be missed, and he prepared for the battle. After attacking all other delinquents, and started hitting the young man, using different weapons at the same time. At the same time, although the blows hit and beat on the young man's body with great force, he protected himself to avoid the serious injury to his head. While seeing his boss beating Lil Fry, will bark with all his might, trying to intimidate the aggressors and protect his friend. Confused the red hair in the scene, and understandably the hero is being punished for his betrayal and lies. The staff with all the children also understands, and this boy shouted, "The heart mutant they've been looking for so long." Red liquid flows from the injured hero's hand after many beats, and he touched the ground with his fingers at that point. Started waking up, his power, and the red liquid on the ground is respond to the touch of his powerful mutant skin. The aggressor is confused and does not understand what is happening as the young man's body begins to regenerate. The protagonist suddenly gets up and struck a devastating blow in the face of the enemy without time to react to the awesome, amazing speed began to avoid the hero and counter all delinquent uses. the quick and precise blow, and Sepa in seconds. One of the guys is on the through the someone is on the things. Because of the young man's superhuman strength, the crew confronts the protagonist and prepares for the battle. As he slowly approached with his head bent, he walks towards danger, and his dark aura increases tension with all enemies. The leader shouted angrily to his men, "Finish the foreigner, enter he there once and for all." Subsequently surrounded by all delinquents, the hero, using their bats, and prepared for a simultaneous attack. After attacking at the same time the aggressors and began to lay down their weapons on the young man. But he avoided the whole thing. One of the boys is thrown a powerful and precise kick in seconds. Some personnel that NASA Earth with serious damage to the body. The young man continued to fight and hit a devastating blow on one's face. Another enemy to fly far without a chance. The enemy to react. He followed it up with Sipa, and the aggressor ended in a fatal beat in the cold stare. The protagonist shows that he has no mercy with those who attacked him. One of the masked men tried to hit him with the baseball bat. But quickly the hero, and the attack almost hit him. The red liquid has flown as an indication that Ang Palo is near. He used the enemy's momentum to counter, and he answered it stronger and more precisely. Palo. The aggressor was thrown brutally and crashed into the wall, and immediately lost melee. Others are confused and ask questions why the new student is so strong, and if he was really human at that moment. The young man held another enemy in the cave, and looked at it full of anger desperately. The leader pulled out a sharp object, and ordered others to do the same, to finish the young man. After running the villain and hitting the hero on the side, with a cowardly and cheek beat and a cruel smile, the man asked if it hurt. At the same time, so wounded the young man felt the effect, cough a little the hero, and there is a flowing red liquid from his mouth showing that more serious the right. Then thought surprised the villain and began to repeat, strike the hero again, screaming that the monster is gone, but the young man grabs the blade with his hand and flowing the red liquid shows the strength of his attachment. The gang leader was totally confused and can't understand what's happening. Stand up the protagonist and called the voice while saying to the aggressor that, stop trying to stab him. Then he pulled the thing from his own chest and held firmly, leaving the enemy unarmed. The man is confused and asks what kind of heart. The one who can endure such a wound and stay alive. The young man stops the aggressor and asked if he was interested to know his real one and powerful mutant abilities. The hero did not answer and returned. Ing Pal hit the leg of the villain, who screamed in pain in the shock of the attack. Upon seeing the scene, the other henchman was scared and thought they shouldn't have played a mute. After the young man threw the temporary weapon on the ground and prepared to finish the remaining enemies, his eyes shone with an intense red light, and he attacked the fugitives very quickly. He warned them that now they knew his identity, none of them can leave that place alive. It was clear in his jealous expression that he has no mercy with those who hurt his new friend. Meanwhile, Little Fried barked happily, as if supported by his boss. Finish all villains in seconds. All henchmen their faces are on the ground. Is completely deformed. From the rods stand the protagonist in the middle of the alley, with all defeated enemies and his puppy by him on the ground. Red Hair called the friend's name, shaking on the strength shown, and asked is the hero. He offered to call an ambulance of serious injuries, but the young man said he was fine and touched his chest. Shows no wound. Surprised, the friend noticed the missing hole and remained speechless in the wonder Amazing regeneration of the young man. In the helping nose stared at by red hair. The friend of completely surprised by the power of regeneration. Digress the gaze is full of guilt, in betrayal of the only friend he has in the midst of defeated enemies. The protagonist apologized. The delinquent was even more confused with everything that happened. Suddenly the young man closed his fist and seems to control the self, to not explode in anger on the ground. The young man hit his own head and hates himself for being stupid and choosing the wrong friend. The hero was surprised and asked if his friend would really sell a friend lying on the ground. The delinquent apologized and admitted the betrayal because he is close to the bad guys. He explained that he thought it was cool to hang out with the gang, and deep down he's a thug. Like them approached the protagonist and handed a white cloth to the young man. Misunderstood the gesture. The hero said that his nose was bleeding and used it to seal the face. The red hair immediately asked if it was really for him. That, and the friend confirmed simply and calm, but when taking the cloth, the delinquent realized hey, it was a puppy training pad. And surprised even then, he used it to clothe his face and said that he did not deserve it, should be treated as a true friend. Smiled the young man and said that means he is not alone in considering them friends. And that was enough for him. The friend was left with nothing to say to the goodness of the young man and stared at him with pure admiration at that point. Damn alloy the tears. And red hair can't stop all emotions. He stood up and hugged the protagonist tightly, while crying and apologizing for everything he has done. In the midst of the commotion, the young man said that Gio was a really cool person, and finally the two forgave.